Ladies and gentlemen of both the Twitch and the YouTube, welcome to the end of the month subscriber Q&A. This is where I take a moment out of the chat room. I'm trying to look into the camera. I haven't used the camera quite a while. Now you have to imagine that you have like the monitor right and the camera's a wee bit to the right. So it's almost like I'm not looking at you. Hang on. I'm coming for you. We are at the end of the month subscriber Q&A. This is the moment where I take an hour out of the stream. I turn the chat room in subscriber modes and I answer questions. This is my way of saying thank you to those who went above and beyond, that subscribe to the channel, and, you know, my way of saying thank you to them. So for the next hour, I hope they have plenty of questions for me. I hope we're going to have a grand old good time. Let's see what they come up with. Hi everybody! Hello, hello, hello. That was way too high practice to not be practice, you know it. Do we even have any questions, ladies and gentlemen? Otherwise, we're just gonna open up the chat room and be like, random. I really just want to chat. We can do that as well, Cyclone. Cyclone, tell us about your day, mate. How was your day, Cyclone? Do you feel like sharing today? Have you overcome the demon that is addiction? In other words, Overwatch. Tell us, Cyclone, how are you? Can there be Overwatch in there as well? Called it. Called it. Right, let's see if we got anything. This is a question I've been brewing on. Arthas, the Lich King, killed both Ner'zhul and the small kid that was his humanity. Now Bolvar was the guy who took the helmet of the Lich King on him, right? Would Bolvar be hearing like Arthas or like just himself? I'm not making sense, am I? I think what you're trying to ask is Bolvar in full control of the Lich King, or is there more going on in the helmet? Now before I answer this question, I do have to give a warning. I forgot to do the introduction. I am open for spoilers, ladies and gentlemen. There might be Illidan novel spoilers, there might be Legion beta spoilers, Chronicle spoilers. For those I'm open. So if you don't want any spoilers in that regard, then this is not the Q&A to watch. And please, thank you for watching so far and leave. Leave right now. Anyways, the Lich King is hard to decipher. I have a feeling that with the Lich King storyline, what they're trying to do is sort of like the symbiote from Spider-Man, right? The Lich King has become its own entity. It has this host going on. But at the same time, it's still the Lich King. So when Ner'zhul was in power, there was also the Lich King. When Arthas was in power, there was also the Lich King. When Bolvar's in power, there was also the Lich King. What happened to Ner'zhul, young Arthas and older Arthas? We have the Sylvanas short story that describes Arthas in hell. But at the same time, we've also seen Arthas pop up during the Death Knight artifact questline. So what exactly is going on there? I have no idea. Are they images of the past? Perhaps. Are they lingering spirits still stuck in the helmet? Perhaps. I don't know. I really don't know. I don't know a clear answer. But what I do have a feeling about is that you have like the being that is Bolvar, and then you have the being that is the Lich King. I think that's the storyline that they're going with, but honestly, I have no clear answer in that regard. Hey Double, if Queen Azshara was in power by the Well of Eternity, wouldn't the well exploding weaken her greatly? Which would explain why she hasn't done much in a while. She's been trying to regain her strength. What are your thoughts? Although it's true that the Highborn and the Night Elf Society drew their power from the well, there have been magical casters even after the well, in the form of drawing power from the ley lines, and apparently when the Well of Eternity imploded, little particles swifted out into the, I don't know, into the air, I suppose, where they can draw the power from. So, is the power entirely gone? Not really. Could it have weakened her? Not necessarily. Not necessarily. Not to mention that Azshara, after the whole Night Elf situation with the Highborn, she made a pact with the old gods. They would make her better than she was. They would make her grander than she was. And now she is both Azshara, the one that she was, with her power and knowledge and might, and she's empowered by old gods. That is definitely a force to reckon with. Is that the right words? I hope so. Howdy, Hella Splattered. Have I seen the Warcraft movie? And if you have, what do you think about it? At this point in time, Twin Dragon, I have not seen the Warcraft movie yet. I'm going to go coming Saturday, which will be the 4th of June. So I can't give an opinion yet about the movie. I have had so many requests from people, like, can you do a little review of the movie? I might, once I've seen it, and I'm probably going to incorporate the differences in the storyline in something like the story of Durotan. But at this point, I can't give you an opinion about it. What I will say, and a lot of people have asked about this, is when you are going to see this movie, do not expect the story that you know retold. Do not expect it to be perfectly lined up with the story that you know, because the movie is doing its own thing. I have compared it to an alternate reality. Some say that the term movie adaptation is better. Whatever you want to call it, it's doing its own thing, and it's not the same as our storyline. So what you see in the Warcraft movie does not affect the history of our Durotan. See it as alternate Durotan, for example. Alternate Durotan had a whole different storyline compared to ours, and that's the same thing that's gonna happen for the Warcraft movie. So keep that in mind if you're going to go see it. Just, you know, don't set yourself up for disappointment in that regard. And besides that, an opinion, once I've seen the movie, will be out as soon as possible. How do you get rid of the hiccups? I usually drink some water. And not just one glass, but I gulp down like a liter. That usually does the trick. If that doesn't help, just distract your mind. And your body will calm down and you will stop hiccuping. Do you think that we could ever play Nightborn? Or at least get the skin for the Night Elves? I would love that. But it's entirely up to Blizzard if they will or will not do that. There have been many variations that people have asking for. Like, I was gonna say Dark Iron, but I think Dark Iron is now part of the customization. But take the High Mountain Tauren, for example. They could be a great addition to the Tauren customization menu. So will they? I have no idea, but I'm right on board there. Customization is always very nice. Do I play Pokemon? Everyone loves them Pokemons. I bet you do too. I have played a fair few Pokemons in my day. I still need to play the latest one. I don't think it's released yet. Like Sun and something else. And if you're asking me like what starter are I gonna go with, there really is no choice. Like normally I'm all about the fire type, right? Normally I'm all about the fire type. But now it's all about the water type. Come on. It's a little seal bouncing a little ball on his nose. Can you imagine what evolutions are gonna come out of there? Come on, Team Water. Gotta go there. How do I think Sylvanas will be as Warchief? Hard to say. Very hard to say. I think she will do everything in her power to fight back against the Legion. Because no matter what you think of Sylvanas, she wants to stay alive, right? She wants to postpone that inevitable death that's waiting for her, that torment that was shown to her. So I think in that regard she will do the best she can with the Hordes and save the world, if you were. Will she stay Warchief forever? I still believe that Vol'jin has a chance of coming back. I still think that Vol'jin is not entirely dead. But that's just my personal interpretation. For all we know, Vol'jin is truly dead and Sylvanas is the new Warchief. If they did go with that storyline, I would be very, very disappointed because Vol'jin would have done absolutely nothing. So Sylvanas, going to do her best to stop the Legion. If it comes push to shove, who would Sylvanas pick? Would she pick herself or would she pick the Horde? That's been like her description on the Legion website, right? I think she would honestly pick for herself. I don't think Sylvanas is like the... And I'm sure a lot of fans out there are going like, but Sylvanas is the greatest! I fap to her every night. And that's fine. That's perfectly fine. But I think she's selfish in that regard. I think she doesn't want to go to hell. And with the storyline that's been given of her so far, I don't think she would make the choice of putting the Horde above... above herself. But perhaps she will. You know, perhaps they've decided to give her somewhat of a redemption storyline. Like, where do you take a character once she tried to kill herself and she realized that she's gonna go to hell? And then all she does is try to stay alive. I guess that's where they're gonna go with her, isn't it? Oh well, time will tell. And don't be offended, by the way, it's only a joke. Will I play Overwatch with you? Is it Dreadlord if I can find some way of setting up a good grouping system? We might. I'd like to take over with popular demand. What is your shoe size? And does it in any way translate to your D size? What is my shoe size? And does it in any way translate to my D size? My D size? Huh. I don't know. Like, my shoe size is easy, right? That's 46. But does it translate to my D size? I think that is a very fair and philosophical question here, Karja. Does the size of your feet equal to the size of your D? I think I make a pretty small D. Like, when I write it out. It's not too big. It's like normal. And then, you know, small Ds. So, no. I don't think necessarily my Ds are any bigger than the next guy, to be honest. Maybe also not smaller, but, you know. I hope that was a good stupid answer to a stupid question. I hope I did right one proud there. Do you think Enwin Louter will show up in Legion as a ghost or something? Enwin Lofar. Ooh, maybe. Haven't seen him yet. Maybe. PC broke today. Now only this can quell my addiction. Aww. Sad to hear, Victor. How do I think Symmetra will be a good Warchief? Huh. Such a lack of imagination. The path is open. I bought the Illidan novel. Is it a good read? I thought it was, but a mate of mine thought it was a little bit difficult to go through. But I really liked the Illidan novel. I thought the combat scenes were pretty damn sweet. The whole transformation into a demon hunter was very well written. Overall, I really enjoyed it, yeah. Do I think that the vision Arthas had was just an illusion made by Ner'zhul? What vision is that, Mighty Goat Cow? What vision are we talking about? Do I think Vol'jin is actually dead, or perhaps he's using some type of Loa magic to bring himself back to life? I personally think that Vol'jin goes undercover. There are like data mined conversations that suggest that Vol'jin tells the other leaders like, okay, I need to go undercover a little bit, I'll come back and visit an old friend and something like that. It would be a little bit of a repeat of Vol'jin going undercover, but it is what's data mined. Lich King is Spider-Man confirmed, right? So why did the Crowleys and their rebellion actually rebel? What did Greymane do to cause a civil war? I will have to look that one up. I would have to look that one up. Let me take a little look. Northgate Rebellion. Shortly after the Second War, the decision to construct the Greymane Wall and seal Gilneas off the rest from the world was made. King Gen Greymane has decided the alliance was not worth the Gilnean lives at the cost during the war against the Horde. To make matters even worse, the decision to close off Gilnean's borders would cut through the lands of a never but still respected nobleman by the name of Darius Crowley. The wall would cut off Pyrewood Village and Embermill from the rest of Gilneas. This, coupled with the fact that Crowley was a known alliance supporter, it only led to even more tension building up as a result. For a while, the tension seemed to dull over. With the Greymane's wall finished construction, contact between the two towns had been cut off from Gilneas, and Gilneas had finally cut all ties with Lordaeron and the Alliance. However, as the Third War and the Plague of Undeath ravaged Lordaeron, tension once again began to skyrocket. Lordaeron requested Gilnean aid, only to be denied, and the Gilneans soon found hordes of undead upon their walls. Greymane had given order to Archmage Arugol to summon the warrior to defeat the undead, savage lupin men who could turn the tide of battle. While the undead were repelled, it came at a great cost. The feral warging creatures soon turned on the humans and spread their curse throughout the human population of Silverpine Forest. The decision to deny aid to the Alliance and the fact that Pyrewood and Embermill were caught in the crossfire of the undead and Worgen rampage had only furthered the tensions amongst the Gilnean people. Unable to remain idle as his king went about his tyranny, Crowley had sent a platoon of his own men, known as the Gilneas Brigade, to aid the Alliance and Lady Jaina Proudmoore. Following his actions, Greymane confronted Crowley for what he considered treason. Darius stated that there was no reason in Gen's actions and declared civil war. The Northgate Rebellion had raged on all over Gilneas as civil war erupted between the Northgate rebels, led by Crowley, and the Gilnean loyalists, led by Greymane. Eventually, the Northgate rebels marched onto Gilneas city itself. The final battle erupted when Crowley's men marched upon the city, setting it ablaze with cannon fire. Yet Crowley's coup d'etat eventually failed, and he, as well as the other leaders of the rebellion, were imprisoned for treason. Following Crowley's capture, the rebels went into hiding. The rebels had stashed weapons throughout Gilneas, including a large cache in the city. who the Northgate rebels had enough firepower to take half of Gilneas city. Crowley's imprisonment effectively ended the rebellion, and the weapon cache went unused for several years. And that is the reasoning behind the rebellion. There we go. Sorry, I had to look that one up. I should actually do a story of Gilneas at some point. Just to refresh my memory on everything that went there. But there you go. That is the rebellion storyline. So here's a question. After the raid on the Exodar, what do you think Velen means by "we're going to home"? Do you think he's going to give up and join the Legion? Or is he pissed off now that his son is dead and he's going to retake the planets? I've heard a lot of people say like Velen is going to the dark side. I personally think that this was just the last straw. And that Velen is finally going to take some action. For millennia, the Draenei, under the leadership of Velen, have been running away from the Legion. With the, promise of the Naaru. That their survival was of the utmost importance. That the Army of Light was gathering. That they were needed in the coming conflict. That is why they went from planet to planet. But now that his son has been turned against him, that he was forced to see his own son die in his arms, Velen simply has enough. He has enough to kill Jaden, and he's ready to go to Argus and take the battle there to spend some delicious justice. That is my interpretation, though. For all I know, Velen is going to go to the dark side, and he's like, oh, those millennia trying to run away from the Legion. Pfft. Let's join the Legion. Let's go for it, man. Could also be a thing. I was actually whispered that the music was a little bit too loud, so I hope this is better. Just a purely hypothetical question. If the Legion were to win and dominate all life or whatnot, do you think they'd let Gul'dan live after he's fulfilled his purpose? Yeah. Yeah. I don't see a reason why not. Like, Kill Jaden might be the deceiver. And he might have left Gul'dan to rot on his planet once the mission was successful. But he's also been described as rewarding those that are loyal. And that, accomplish great things. So I would say that they keep him alive, empower him and all that. Is that gonna happen? I doubt it. I really doubt that Gul'dan is going to see the end of Legion, but I would see them empower him, yeah. Bolvar is dead, there's only the Lich King now. I don't know, I'm not so certain about it, Cyclone, especially because they're... if you listen to like the dialogue of the Lich King and the things that he's doing, it almost seems like there are two different beings in charge. But you could be right, it could be the Bolvar's completely taken over. Combat Zerg, thank you very much for the 11 months in a row, matey. It means the absolute world. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I got a question about Elune. What if Elune is a titan, like Aman'Thul, and woke up alone, but instead of searching for other titans, started creating creatures like the Naaru, but never happened to meet the other titans? In theory, it's not impossible, but then I have to wonder why the Chronicles made it a point to describe the creation of the Naaru and the creation of the Titans as two different events. Whereas, so far, all we have linking Elune to the creation of the Naaru are texts that suggest it, but as far as I could tell, not really confirm it. Wow, I look pale. You see that, everybody? I need more sunlight. Okay, stop being vain. You're in the middle of a live Q&A. Come on. Do you think enough time has passed? Will we see the Blood Elves become High Elves again with a new Sunwell empowering them? I don't think we'll ever see it happen in-game. Maybe as like a customization feature. That could be really, really cool. This falls back to the whole Nightborn as a playable race. Like a playable skin. I think that would be really cool. But at the same time, you still need to make a distinction between the High Elves and the Blood Elves, right? And there's still friction between those two races. And if they go with the storyline that the Blood Elves now look very similar to the High Elves, that would be a little bit difficult to show the differences between them. So that's the reason why I doubt that we'll ever see it happen in game, but maybe. If there's a golden army, find the Legion, because that means that we aren't alone in the fight against the Legion. What are your thoughts about it? I like the Army of Light well enough. I wonder if they are going to unleash their creativity on it. I wonder if we're actually going to see all these different races fighting against the Legion. Or is it going to be, by the time that we're finally good and ready to go, that everybody else is defeated already? And that we are like the last man standing. I think that would kind of suck. I would much rather see all these different unique races, but Time will tell. Do I want spoilers about the movie? No thank you, Combat Zerk. I also mentioned this at the start. Please, no movie spoilers. Since Vol'jin is gone to the land of the dead, at least we think he did, what do you think will be the leader of the Dark Spirituals now? I'm thinking Rokan, unless... like I mentioned, I don't think Vol'jin is done for good. I think he's just taking a little holiday as he visited an old friend. But Rokan would definitely be up there on the list of taking over leadership. How canon are the healthcare workers in Madame Goya's attic, as well as other places in the world? And why do we, as the players, not have access to them, but Marcus does? Or is it all a lie, and has Marcus been commissioning fanfics to hide the fact that he's actually really shy and lonely? Oh, Marcus. I would almost say that Marcus is shy and makes his own novels, but... this is countered by Marcus walking out of the Tauren tent in Legion, right? We see there 2 Taurens sleeping there. And unless we catch him at just the right moment for him to stage this, it seems like Marcus is, you know, legit what he writes. So, that leaves the question, why can't we use these healthcare workers? Well, simple answer is, Mifo-sama, we are simply not as cool as Marcus. We are simply not as smooth, not as good looking. You know, maybe if we were Lord Greybane, Greymane even, then maybe. But you know, it's a specific quality. And it takes a lot of training and exercise and practice to become Marcus. Like, I've mastered it, you know. I go to the Goldshire Inn. Don't know if you ever tried this, but just walk into the Goldshire Inn and people start whispering me. You know? But that's just my animal magnetism. It takes years of practice, mate. And rolling a female character. That also works. I'm going to wear my novel shirt when I see the movie on opening night. Please take a picture, Sandstorm, if you want. That would be amazing. Are you going to cover the artifact quest lines again at some point? Yes, Warrior Bloke. Basically everything that I do with Legion Beta, we're also going to do it when it's live. The Legion Beta videos are to get the information out as fast as possible. Because, you know, people want to be filled in. Not everybody has the Legion Beta. That's also the reason why I do, like, these massive full playthrough videos. Because some people would love to test it on the beta and the alpha. They want to see it all before it's released. That's for them. But I also know a whole bunch of people that are like, nah, I don't need spoilers. I'll wait until it's actually live. And for those people, and to see the final product with all the voice acting, all the pieces of the puzzle, that is what's gonna happen when it's live. Which means that once the game is actually out, I got a shit ton of work ahead of me. So yeah. I call different reality in the movie since else there be players. Ah, okay. Do you think that Prophet Velen will also lose his life in Legion? Sort of a vengeful last strike against his brother for killing his son. It's incredibly difficult to predict the future, mate. Incredibly difficult, maybe. You know, but in theory, a lot of things are possible. Pokemon S&M, Sun and Moon, GG. Am I the only one who thinks Baine would have made a better Warchief? I think Baine is a little bit too passive, especially with the whole rebellion thing. The storyline that they told with Mr. Pandaria. It's like, oh cool, Vol'jin leads the rebellion now. Let's follow him. What are we gonna do, Vol'jin? Like, you lost your father, mate. You lost your father to Garrosh. Where's the fire? Burn! And then he was appointed to be defender of Garrosh in the trial. It's like, he murdered your father. He murdered your father. What are you doing? And then, of course, you could argue that it makes, you know, a good character for Baine. Like, look, he can look beyond those things. And he will do what is best for the Horde as a whole. And I'm like, nope, he killed your father, mate. Take action. And he never really did. Except for that one line where he told Sylvanas to let go of his arm. And that he was not a bootlicker. Ooh, I am not a bootlicker. You're a bootlicker. It's like, yeah, come on. What do you think of the bits of the Illidan novel in Legion with the Paladin quest with the Naru hearts? What do I think of that? They have a bit of the Illidan novel in Legion with the Paladin quest with the Naru hearts. Olana, I actually did a video about this. I'm really happy about it. I love it when lore of the novels actually make it into the game. that is how it should be, in my opinion. Novels should be extra information to see into a character's head, but it should not be carrying something. Like the bombing of Fedamore, for example. All we got was a little bomb like on Fedamore, that was it. Well, there was a whole storyline behind that, and I'm sure, like War Crimes as well. The moment where we see Garrosh at the end of Mr. Pandaria, where he's put in chains, and the moment where he shows up on Draenor again, and it's like, what happened? How did this happen? What the hell? If you don't read the books, you don't know. So those cases are just, you know, that's very poor if it's only in the books. So I love it. I love that it made it into the game. Do you think any main character could die at the end of Legion? Who would it be? I think everyone can die at the end of Legion. If Blizzard wishes it. Everyone. She is perfectly fine fat material, but she isn't very useful as a leader. She didn't deserve to die the way she did, but after that she dug her own grave. You mean Sylvanas, I suppose? Yeah. I'm still on the fence on what they did with Sylvanas. I'm still wondering, like, do I like it or not? Like, you have to give this character with the main focus of taking down Arthas. That finally happened. That storyline is wrapped up. What do you do with such a character? And they had to give a spin to it, and this is what they went with. So, yeah. Do you think Wrathion will make an appearance later in Legion? Or do you think they'll save him for something later on in the Warcraft universe? He had nice ties into the High Mountain Zone, so I'm not sure why he's been removed either. We talked about this earlier during stream, Warrior Bloke. I'm not entirely sure either. I think it has to do with... Sorry, I was reading further on into the chat room and I had to smile. I think it has to do with time zones. Like, the character that Wrathion played, pretended to be, has always been there in the High Mountain tribe. And, as you might remember, we were the ones who created Wrathion during the Cataclysm. To which we now got a different dragon who has been there all this time. But I always thought that Wrathion just used a little bit of black dragon magic. It was like, yeah, I imprinted myself into your memories, I've always been here. But apparently that wasn't good enough, and for some reason he had to be replaced. Now that is just my interpretation, there's no real explanation that I know of as to why they removed Wrathion. So what will his role be in the Warcraft universe? I sure as hell hope that he's gonna return. If you remember Mr. Pandaria, he was the one line during the entire expansion warning us of the coming of the Legion, preparing us. Hell, even Warlords of Draenor was because of Rathion's actions. And now you're gonna leave him out? The moment supreme? Like, this is his moment! Where is he? So I'm sure hoping that he's gonna get another part. You can invite people through BattleTag without adding them. We need to work something out on that then, Mighty Gokao. Did you do the inscription quest where you get a Steamy Romance novel kit? I did, Siglius, and it was amazing. I failed those D's though. I can't think of another question. My question for you is to ask you to make a question for yourself, then answer it. I mean, I could talk about what I think about Legion again, but that's no fun. I've just bought the Arthas novel as my first Warcraft book. Was this a sensible place to start? Yeah, I mean, the Arthas book pretty much stands on its own. I thought it was a good read, and it explains a lot more as to what happened with Arthas and Jaina and all that. So it's not a bad place to start. Could have been worse, like, could have been like me. I started with Dave the Dragon. In Dutch. Dave the Dragon wasn't fantastic. Serious question. Will you ever start making videos about Overwatch lore? Cyclone? That all comes down to finding the time for it. The other day I got like the collector's edition indoor in my house. And with it came a little booklet that explained more about the characters. So maybe. But if I'm going to do it, it's going to be like the Hearthstone videos, bite size. Definitely not going to be 15 to 30 minutes. And I think I'm gonna wait a little bit until the universe is a little bit more fleshed out. A little bit more to work with. But never say never. Like right now my schedule is just full. But never say never. The one where he killed the little child, himself and Ner'zhul. Oh! For the illusion. Okay. Who created that illusion? Was it Ner'zhul or was it Arthas? I always interpreted it as a representation of Arthas taking control. Saying to his past life, going through all the steps that he had to take in order to become the Lich King that he was. Saying to his past life, like, I'm done. Literally stab it and kill it, I'm done. And then telling Ner'zhul as well, I'm done taking orders. I am in charge now. I am Arthas, I'm the Lich King. Screw you both. Go die in hell. Stabby stabby, Frostborn through, yeah, done. So I always took that as something that happened in Arthas' mind, not so much something created by Ner'zhul. And not even something that really happened, just a representation of the choices Arthas made. Because if you look beyond that, you could write this off as something that they mixed up, something that they messed up. But we have seen the child form of Arthas. We have seen the image of Ner'zhul pop up, like in Legion right now. So either Frostmourne in your mind doesn't stab that well as it does in real life, or it was just a representation of Arthas taking charge. And Wiper95 with the 23 months in a row. Wiper95, thank you so much for nearly the 2 years of support. That is absolutely incredible. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. We did the Golden Army. We did that one. Do we know Broxagar died? Do you think he will turn up in Legion? As far as we know, Broxagar is dead. I mean, he was impaled on a sword, and then later on they saw like his little corpse on the sword, so he seems to be pretty dead. Will he show up in Legion? Anything's possible in that regard. I personally hope not. I think story of Broxagar is, you know, it's perfect. Well, I wouldn't say perfect, but it's good the way it is. You know, a lot of people like Broxagar for the character that he is. What more could they add to his storyline? And I've never really been a fan of bringing back characters back from the dead. Illidan being the exception, because they kind of screwed over Illidan during the Burning Crusade. But overall, I'm perfectly happy with characters just staying dead, you know? And Krellis666 with the 9 months in a row. Krellis to you as well. Thank you. I see chat room. He's dropping some mad no bluffing for you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. If Xavius was the first satyr, how did Malfurion know during the War of the Ancients that those things were called satyrs? I actually wondered that as well. And if I remember correctly, it was like a thing of nightmares, the way that they described it in the War of the Ancients novel. But I also wondered that, like, Xavius is the first of his kind, yet you already know what to call him. It was a little bit weird. Has anyone seen Saurfang the Beta? Saurfang shows up in Gul'dan, as well as Saurfang leads the orcs. There is an achievement, if you remember the PvP achievement, where you had to take down like the Warchief. Saurfang fulfills that role, and instead of actually taking him down, the achievement says Saurfang humors you by pretending to be defeated, or something like that. So he is stepping up. Yeah, AJ, I know the word coop, mate, but it said, what did it say? Coop something else. Where was it? Coop de temps. Like D, apostrophe, E-T-A-T. That is why I got confused. I'm doing great, Brendan. I hope you're doing the same, matey. This is a question I've had on my mind for a while. Garona's lore in the comic said her mother was Marad's sister, but her father was just nameless, Shadow Council warrior. Do you think this is true, or do you think something else? I think Gul'dan is her father. Just did things differently. I personally don't think so. Because someone like Gul'dan, seeing himself mating with Draenei, I don't think Gul'dan would do that. So I would still say with like the nameless one. And the thing is, they have been trying to step away from that story, which was surprising to me that they actually used a version of Garona in the Warcraft movie as well. I think it's not Gul'dan. I think it's just a nameless orc. Story of furry RPers. Hey Noble, when infiltrating in Sudamar, you can disguise yourself as an ogre, but how could the Nightborn know about ogres? Gul'dan told them about it. When Gul'dan and the Legion showed up at the doorstep, they sat down, and Gul'dan told them everything. Where he came from, what beings he hang out with, the ogres. And from this, the Nightborn were like, wow, That could make a really cool costume. That is how they know. Oh. That actually works. I was gonna say, like, good question, because, you know, there's very little time for them to know it. But, you know, Gul'dan already showed up, the Legion's already there. They could have informed them. So there is a spin to give to it. Although you could also say, like, Blizzard just wanted you to have an ogre costume, because ogre costumes are one of the best. I don't ever see him giving up. Excellent. Is the whole raid on the Azshara a shared quest line, or is it only for one class? Every class goes there, I've been told. I don't know what they do with, like, the shard. Because as a paladin, the shard responds to you, and you got this whole distress call from Alir and Trellian to their son, Arator. I don't know how the other Order halls work with that, because they don't have Arator as far as I remember. But the Velen bit is apparently for all the classes. Wiley, I already answered your question, mate. Fleary. Fleary with the 4 months in a row. Fleary, thank you as well for your continued support. So much love today, everybody. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. I don't have a question, just want to say my phone has arrived. Oh yeah. Is Sylvanas continues being the Warchief in the future, and she starts bringing back fallen blood elves as undead? Do you think Lord Marfaran will actually leave the Horde, perhaps join the Alliance? I don't think we'll see that happening in-game. Because during Mr. Pandaria, they tried to go with that storyline. They were like, oh yeah, the Blood Elves nearly joined the Alliance, but we all know that's never gonna happen. Like, the reason people blame Blood Elf, because they want to be part of the Horde, and that is one of the limitations that is simply placed on World of Warcraft. You simply don't have that kind of freedom when it comes to storytelling. So, they might do another pussy out like that. Pussy out like that, yes, that is actually a word. A cop-out like that, where they go like, ooh, we almost joined the Alliance, but I don't think we'll ever see it. What do you think happened to Varian? Did he truly die? I think Varian is truly dead. I don't think it's impossible for him to come back from the dead. Perhaps that is something Sylvanas is trying to arrange with someone like Helia. The afterlife definitely plays a part. Perhaps they're testing the waters with how do people feel about Anduin as leader of the humans anyways. But I truly think he is dead and gone for now. Yeah, compared to Vol'jin, where it's still up for grabs, I think Varian is pretty much dead. Do you think it could be possible that Vol'jin did die, and Sylvanas is trying to bring him back from the dead? Yes and no. Like, in theory, anything's possible, right? But we have had a storyline with Vol'jin where he nearly died, and he communicated with Eloa, with Bonsumdi. Why would Sylvanas communicate with someone like Helia if Bonsumdi stands closer to the Trolls and the Shadowhunters? That would be my counter-argument, but again, in theory, sure, it could happen. And I still wonder what the precious cargo is all about. I've done dungeon now a couple of times. I have not seen any precious cargo, but then again, questline is also not attached to it. Coincidence? I think not. Gravesbane. You've mastered being like Marcus? Hamagammon. Hamagammon. Are there any new lore to Sylvanas in beta that wasn't in alpha? More voice acting, but are you asking, like, is there anything new compared to what she's trying to do with Helia? Her overall plans? No, not really. She's still after the pillar for the Horde. She is still acting as Warchief. Well, we got the Assault on the Broken Shore that's with the beta. But that's about it. Big scary words are big and scary, Illidan and Velen helping us against Gilneas would be epic. I would love to see Velen in action, man. That's what I loved about Alternate Velen as well. For those wondering, like, did a Velen die? Alternate Velen was the one who sacrificed his life in order to purify the Naru. Our Velen never made it to Alternate Draenor and stay behind on Azeroth. It was perfectly fine all this time. But I like it that he actually gets to see some time. I think the creation of his son and that whole storyline where Gilneas all of a sudden corrupted his son and turned him against him. I feel it's a little bit cheap because all of a sudden there is this child never mentioned before just to pull in your heartstrings. Not to mention that Gilneas has tried desperately to kill Velen over the years. Either he's a firm believer in backup plans, or he's very lucky that he never succeeded in any of his first plans, because then corrupting his son would be pretty much a waste of time, wouldn't it? In the meantime, ladies and gentlemen, Blood Angel 65 just subscribed. Blood Angel 65, thank you very much for subscribing, matey. Be welcome! And I hope you enjoyed the stream. Look at all those beautiful hearts. I gotta do a thing. Chef Antoine, do the thing. Why do night elves love the night and prefer to stay in the dark, but they worship a goddess of the light? Do you think it's because of their dark trolls ancestors? I mean, worship a goddess of the light. They worship the moon, mate. If there's anything more connected to the night, it's the moon, right? My PC is in desperate need of a cleanup, by the way. If I suddenly fall out, that's because my PC is just not coping. Dag van de Draak. Oh, Mythos. It was my first book that I read as well, man. So bad. Have we seen Coltra since Anderhall? In Legion we are going to see Coltra. We are actually going to join up with Fusarian and rescue him from Undercity. Now, by the time that I did the mission, there was no real dialogue between Fusarian and Coltra. And I really, really hope that that was because it wasn't finished yet. Because if it happens the way that I saw it go down, anticlimactic to the max. But, you know, I still hope that there's going to be more dialogue added to it. Let's be Battletech, friends. Elforphidia, as much as I would love to add each and every one of you, whenever I'm online, it's either to chill and get away from it all, or to record and stream. And both situations are just not the best situations to whisper with people or to hang out with people. So even if I would add you to the Battle.net list, it just wouldn't do that much. But I appreciate the offer, though. Would I be willing to read other novels from the author of Illidan? Yeah, sure. Reading is always good. Why couldn't Arthas' vision actually be constructed by Yogg-Saron? It would make sense if the Lich King is indeed taken over by an old god. What would Yogg-Saron have to gain from Arthas stabbing things in a mind that actually aren't stabbed? Like, I'm all for the Yogg-Saron connection with the Lich King, but I have to wonder, like, what does Yogg-Saron have to gain from that, considering that Arthas, on his own, could very easily have also taken control. Like, Arthas was done with being manipulated, was done with being controlled. So I wonder, like, I mean, again, in theory it's possible, but I doubt it. I think it was truly Arthas' own mind at work there. Stabby stabby, right? Isn't it confusing that Ner'zhul has shadow power in the Frost Decay artifact questline? Really? Does he? I'm sure that you're right, Cyclone. I would have to look up what spells exactly he uses, and if you could place that under the category of him as the Lich King. Or if they use the abilities for Ner'zhul from Alternate Draenor, because it could very well be the second case, and in that case they kind of fucked up. But I didn't even notice it, to be honest. I do remember, like, the bones being resurrected and all that, but that all just seemed to be Lich King in my opinion. I would have to look it up. In the meantime, PX Taggy with the 2 months in a row. PX Taggy or PX Taggy, I hope I pronounced that right. Thank you very much for those beautiful 2 months, matey. It means the absolute world. Thank you, thank you, thank you. The books you read, are they normally in English or in Dutch? English, cat lady. The thing is, reading in Dutch, I could. But there are certain terms, like, I don't know if there are any Dutchies in the chat room right now. And if I'm the only one that feels like that. But whenever I watch, like, a game show, right? A show where they talk about video games. They toss in terms, they go like... Oh ja, dit spel is mega epic, man. Zo geweldig en fantastisch en lol, raffle. And they use, like, English terms mixed with Dutch. And it just makes my skin crawl. And I'm like, pick one of the two. Pick one of the two. Either do it completely in ABN or do it in English and not both. Because it's just very difficult to talk about game terms when you're gonna do it in your own language. Like, I don't know, owns and trying to find examples on the spot is just very difficult. But it just makes my skin crawl when I hear the combination. I don't know why. It's one of my pet peeves, I suppose. Haven't seen the Warcraft movie. What are your thoughts about it? Have you already talked about it? I did talk about it, Max. Haven't seen the movie yet. Going to see it Saturday. A movie, my thoughts about it? ASAP. Perhaps Xavier's was based on a myth. Yeah, but how would Sargeras know about that myth then? I play Blood Elf because they were cool in Warcraft 3. Huh. Because they were the closest to High Elves. Alright. Vol'jin is in Shadowhunter, and I have heard that they are able to resurrect themselves back to life. Do you think that could happen here? Don't think Shadowhunters on their own have like the ability to reincarnate. But with the blessing of the Loas, they could come back. We've seen it happen with Vol'jin before. Could it happen here? Sure. In theory, it's possible. I wonder, since they came out with a Warcraft movie, and I was like, wouldn't it be cool if they made a movie or two about Arthur's storyline? What are your thoughts? I would love to see Arthas on the big screen, man. Arthas with one of those storylines. Oh, a child of light going to darkness. Could work. But I think it's going to depend on the success of the Warcraft movie itself. Like movies based on video games don't have the best reputation to begin with, for various reasons. Be it big businessmen money laundering, or just being shitty movies. So in that regard, you know, it's a movie based on a video game. It doesn't have the best reputation. But if it's successful, I could definitely see them go with more storylines, sure. Just a boring question. What would be your favorite race in the lore? Like dwarves coming from those stone people, or like humans coming from the humans and Northrends, Valkyrs, right? Picking a favorite is always difficult for me. I don't really do favorites in that regard. Gun to my head. I think I like the Orcish storyline more. I also need to sneeze at some point. Or maybe not. But I really like the Orcish storyline, but there are a lot of storylines that I really enjoy. So picking a favorite is very, very difficult. For playing, I still like the human, because I like the way that the starting zone is connected. I like the reputation bonus. Every man for himself, even though it's gonna get nerfed. That's all good. Is the Tyrion part of the Horseman quest implemented yet? What do you think about it? I don't believe so, Zetterberg, but then again, I also haven't really tested it. But I think if it's ever implemented, it will be all over the internet. There have been some voice files for Darien. My personal interpretation is that the Death Knights are going to try and get Tyrion to their sides, but they're going to fail. And Darien is then going to step up and be like, Death Lord, I know you need your horsemen, but Tyrion is such an uber hero, I have history with him, please take me instead. I will step up and be your fourth horseman. Part of the reason why I think this is because we haven't seen a Tyrion model yet. Darien is a follower, but then again he was already a follower. But they also already have a Wielder of the Light as the horseman. And if they're ever going to bring back Tyrion, I would say that he would definitely be a Wielder of the Light. So those would be my reasons for Tyrion not becoming one of the horsemen, but time will tell. In the meantime, Gustav Wallado with the 2 months in a row. And chatroom, thank you so much for sharing that love in. And Gustav to you, thank you so very much for those 2 months, matey. It means the absolute world. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Have I seen anything to Suzanne Windrunner yet? I kidnapped her, mate. Put her in my own personal farm. Mighty Gokar and Lunar. Ooh la la. Sorry, just had to take a little sip there. What do I think will happen at the end of Legion? Will we fight the Avatar Sargeras? Do we fight Gil'dan and Twisted Nether to finish him off once and for all? Or will Bolvar backstab us and weaken us more? I like that last one a lot. Dutch Serenity even. I like the last one a lot. Could lead into a Scourge storyline next expansion. But I personally feel that a good progression for the patches in Legion could be working on sealing the rift at the Tomb of Sargeras. We are going to be successful at doing so, and either we are going to face off against the Naga and Azshara and deal with the other side of the planets, or we're going to blast off into space, take the battle to Argus and kill Jaden, to which we come back to the planet and find it conquered by the Naga, to which we need to kick them off our lands and retake them. For last boss, I would say a fully powered Gul'dan could definitely be a thing. With second options being either Azshara or the Avatar Sargeras. Something in that regard. Yogg-Saron is a master manipulator. If he made Arthas think that he was the one doing it all, that he was the one in control, he could have a perfect distraction to escape his prison, as well as a perfect pawn. Good theory, except we were the reason, or Arthas was the reason, that we went to Northrend in the first place. Yogg-Saron, by that time, didn't necessarily need anything else to break out of his prison besides more time. Like his whole physical manifestation, the Titan Keepers were under his control. Why would someone like Yogg-Saron bring heroes to Northrend? Now, as I say that, I do remember the voice line where he's like, your petty conflicts only make me stronger. That could be a reason, yeah. Ah, I like the theory, Mighty Goko. Of Mifosama even. I like it. But I still stand with the statement that it was because of Arthas that we went to Northrend. And because we went to Northrend, we figured out Yogg-Saron was trying to break out in the first place. Perhaps Yogg-Saron didn't expect us to go into Ulduar. Perhaps he was like, ah, nobody will find this facility. Ah, nobody will. They're just gonna fight each other and forget all about me. Or maybe he thought that he could take us on. There's a lot of room for speculation there, which is why I love Yogg-Saron so much. Greetings from my hotel room. Howdy, Kamos. Business, business. But I could not resist the noble stream. Hope you're doing great, Kamos. And howdy, Revolt and Ginger. Het is epic, episch, awesome, geweldig. Yep. I know how you feel about the combination English and Dutch. That's why I don't watch TV anymore. Not to mention it makes it impossible to quote pieces of the books to the English speakers. Things get lost in translation, very specifically crafted sentences that reference pieces in the game. Yep. They've already made 31 million from the movie, and the money they used on it was 160 million. So they have so far made 191 million. Wait, what? They have already made 31 million on the movie, and the money that they used on it, I assume that you mean the money that they used to create, was 160 million. Wouldn't that put them into like 129 minus? Or am I being retarded? Reading the Swedish translation, Ubisoft is the best. I'm happy I'm Swedish. Wondering if the Thrall's birth is the same thing happened as in the lore cleanser. I'm not going to go into that one. Because that falls under Warcraft movie spoilers, and I haven't seen the movie for myself yet, so I can't really give you an answer for that. What do I think of your new Sunstrider in the Fire Mage artifact quest? Surprising, but no real strong feelings in that regard. Nope. Can we talk about the movie or not? Nah, let's not go into spoilers, Clincher. No, no, no. That was totally my theory. Do you see any possible conclusion to the story of the Old Gods? They seem pretty much impossible to kill. A conclusion to the Old Gods storyline? You mean besides simply blowing up the planets? The Titans believed that despite the Old Gods' corruption, if they infused the spirit inside, then it could wake up and be a powerful ally. They had not given up hope for the Titan spirit inside. So if the Titans believed that, and they did everything in their power to bring order to the planet, despite knowing that the Old Gods were still there, then I assume a conclusion would be the Titan spirit waking up, and as some have mentioned, wake up as a planet, perhaps with a couple of festers here and there, or maybe like as a spirit out of the eggshell and just leave the eggshell behind, something like that. And then we can blow up the planet, because we're gonna cruise around with the Titan spirits. Do I see a conclusion where the Old Gods are defeated and we're not all killed? Not unless we find a different planet to live on. So yeah. I don't think anybody would bother going to Ulduar, that everyone would fall under the Lich King's mighty hammer, creating more and more powerful means in the process, but Ulduar was merely a setback. Oh, they made 160 million already, so they got their investment back, and then another 31 million. Holy snap, that's a lot of money. Like, I don't know if those profits are a lot of money in the movie business, I'm not familiar with that. Can you imagine making 31 million? Can you imagine spending 160 million? And then there were like dollar signs in my eyes, like ching! But that's good. They made a profit. That's good to hear. But according to Blizzard, we killed the old gods when he killed them, which caused the cataclysm or some nonsense. Thank BlizzCon responses. I would have to look that response up, is it Dreadlord? But as far as I know, we never truly killed an old god. We just pushed their physical manifestation back into their prison. Because, killing an old god would, like, destroy the planet. As we've seen with, ripping out Azshara. They only made 31 million in international sales. Yeah, what is it? Like, did they make their money back, or did they only make 31 million? Now I need to know. I have not seen it yet. Nope. This weekend clincher. Gonna go with some friends, have a bit of fun. Yep, yep. How did Vanessa MacLeod actually survive to see herself become the leader of the Rogue Order Hall? Poison! Apparently it was all just us tripping balls. What are the top 4 strongest old gods? I think Azshara, Yogg-Saron, and Zaf-Kafun. I would go with that. I would agree with that. Azshara has been described as the strongest one. Yogg-Saron has just done all kinds of devilish things. I would only say that N'Zoth is still up for grabs. Because N'Zoth has not really got the moment to shine yet. But otherwise I would agree with that one. What do you think about spaceships? As a new garrison 8.0 and 9.0 for fighting against the Legion. I have suggested such a thing, Blood Angels. I have suggested such a thing before. Like go into space and have space battles and stuff like that. Would it fit Warcraft? I don't think so. Like space battles and shooting each other, that was more for Star Wars Galaxies, and I don't even believe people liked it in Star Wars Galaxies. But like a flying garrison, a home away from home, I wouldn't be against it. What is your speculation for Sylvanas being the new Warchief? I personally think she will use Blood a lot, because she was limited to use it in a few storylines. She will try to strengthen the undead armies of the Forsaken, and maybe go crazy like Arthas did at one point. We actually talked about this earlier at the start. I think Sylvanas will do everything in her power to destroy the Legion, including the Plague. And this has also been shown in the Stormheim storyline. Stormheim? Was it Stormheim or was it Heimeout? No, Stormheim, yeah. Where the Alliance shoots down the Forsaken ships, and the Forsaken actually brought the Plague, so you need to clean up nature, because you know Plague is not so good for nature. Can only be that I read an idiot article. They haven't made their money back, but that's cause the Chinese haven't seen it, neither the Americans. I was thinking the same as you at the start. It was all one strange dream. At some point we need to figure out the numbers of the Warcraft movie, I don't know. Now we know where the drug use warning on the WoW box comes into play, right? Wouldn't that make it more StarCraft-ish? I mean, it already makes it more StarCraft-ish. Like, we've seen a lot of Assassin's Creed references in Suramar, but StarCraft is definitely in there. Little pylons, spaceships, yep. So yeah, ladies and gentlemen, I think we've been going for almost an hour now. Like, we started the timer a little bit late when it comes to the Q&A. Are there any final questions that you would like to ask? What do you think Blizzard will do for the Draenei starting zone if they indeed make the Exodar fly into space? It's not as hard to replace as Dalaran is. I honestly think that area is just going to be stuck in time. Similar to how Silvermoon has been stuck in time for 7 years now. Something like that. 31 million made in 20 markets, with USA and China still coming. It will make its money back. So if they invested 160 million, and they have made a 31 million so far, they still haven't broken even, yeah? A pleb wonders if the plague works on demons. A girl has no names. Have we seen an example of the plague working on demons? I think in theory the plague could work on the demons, but I think we will have to make a specific kind of string again. If you remember the questline where Sylvanas had to work together with her and the Forsaken in order to try and make a specific plague that they used at the Ralph Gates. That one had to be specifically designed in order to take down the undead as well as the living, right? I think that for the undead, or for the demons, a similar thing will have to happen. But if they are able to do it for the undead, why not for demons, right? What is Garrosh doing in Groma's Hold? Being faced in the wrong place? The Chromie trailer is indeed a warning that WoW and StarCraft are connected. Oh yeah. How do you think we will lose our artifact weapons? I actually wrote for this for a Icy Veins article once upon a time. And it's very hard to say what are they going to do with the artifacts after Legion. Some suggest that we're going to sacrifice our weapons, our power, in order to seal off the rift at the Tomb of Sargeras. Which is a possibility, but then they'll either have to keep us stuck in time before that moment, because you're not going to get a different weapon, or they'll have to give us like a replica. And I wonder if people would enjoy it if you're going to sacrifice a weapon you worked very hard for the entire expansion in order to level it up, in order to become accustomed to it. I wonder if people will enjoy that. My personal idea behind it, the easiest way that they can deal with all of this is to either return the weapons to the original owners, like Thrall getting the Doomhammer back because he worked out his inner turmoil. Like, can you imagine Thrall without the Doomhammer? I don't know. And then, for those that are no longer there, for those that passed away, you would simply hang up your artifact in the Order Hall and you would pick up a new weapon. Would it make a lot of sense, replacing something like the Ashbringer for a new green? Not really. But, you know, you have to give it some spin, right? They have said that they're gonna make a sequel. Okay, cool. Still a loss at this point, officially. Alrighty. She loved the movie. Nor was with me, and awesome visuals and actions. The 2 other games were like with me. Everyone I talked to until now liked it a lot. Excellent, Camos. That has been, from what I can feel, what I've been hearing from people is that the fans really enjoy the movie. The audience enjoys it. Some dislike the fact that they step away from the original storyline, but you know, at some point you either gotta deal with it or just keep on to it. And the critics apparently bash it for some reason. But like I said, I'm keeping complete verdict until I've seen the movie. And how bad can it be, right? I get to eat some popcorn. I get to eat drink some Coke. I get to chill in the theater with friends of mine. I mean, hell, I get to be in the dark with Fury W. And Mr. C, are you jealous? Jealous? So yeah, you know, I'll save my opinion about that until I've actually seen the movie. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I am going to make this my final question, and then I got some final words there. There we go. Will you do a spoiler chat video after the movie? Could be a thing. I'll let my opinion know once I've seen the movie, yeah. That I will do. Will you be a lore walker to our children and tell them all the lore you've learned? If so, please be my grandpa. Sure, Tommy D. Do you think the Legion will deploy the mists used in Shefrev will make another appearance in Legion? It's a very potent Legion weapon, yet they only used it once. I think it was only a plot device in order to bring about the Broken and the Draenei's connection to shamanism. But in theory they could. I just don't think it's gonna happen again. Actual reviews that say the movie is good. Alright. What are you talking about? Rothgate's speech. When will the critters in Mulgore take revenge on the murderers? I hope there's going to be a pathetic call of the critters, and then we would have to fight critters infected by plague of druid critters. Do it. Do it, do it, do it. Right, and with that, ladies and gentlemen, did you ask an important question? Pie or cake? Oh, I'm sorry, King Karasu. There we go. Pie or cake? Pie. Of course, pie. Oh, I want pie now. Thanks, Kin. Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, with that, I'm going to wrap up the end of the month subscriber Q&A. Some final thoughts, though, for the Warcraft movie. Like, we've been having a lot of questions about that. Like I said, I'm going to visit, or see, I'm going to visit my grandma, the Warcraft movie. I'm going to see the Warcraft movie coming Saturday in a paté in the Netherlands. I'm not going to say where, but if we encounter each other, by all means, go say hello. I would love that. My opinion about the movie, like I said, it's doing its own thing. It's an alternate reality, or someone said that movie adaptation is a better term for it. So don't go to the movie to see a story retold that you already know. Go there with the expectation of, okay, it's going to be different than I know it, but perhaps, you know, it's just going to be epically told. Perhaps the visuals are going to be beautiful. Perhaps the acting is going to be really good. That is what I'm personally hoping for. I'm personally hoping for just a fun movie experience. I don't care if they step away from the lore and it doesn't line up, because they have chosen to go a different route. This has been known for months, and by doing so, yeah, some people will be pissed off that it's not the story as we know, but at the same time, it does give them some liberties, some artistic liberties, and a translation from a game, a story, a movie. Those are 3 different mediums and 3 different ways that you need to tell a story. This is also something that I talked about during my Warcraft trailer breakdown. So once again, if you go to see the Warcraft movie, don't go in with the expectations like I know everything. Expect it to be a little bit different, and who knows? Who knows, you might actually enjoy it. But ladies and gentlemen, that will do it for me with the end of the month subscriber Q&A. As always, chat room, thank you so much for making the hour plus fly by. You are absolutely amazing. And ladies and gentlemen on the YouTube, I'm thinking, what do I want to say to you? I think I want to say you're a sexy beast, first of all. Yeah, you. Yeah, you. Don't look over your shoulder. Don't look over your shoulder. You know it. Own it. Own it. I want to say thank you very much for watching. Subscribe if you like my videos. And until next time, guys. See ya.